I just finished Frank Figliuzzi's book, Long Haul: Hunting the Highway Serial Killers. And this is a hard book to review. So, first, I'm going to start with why I started reading this in the first place. Frank is former assistant director of the FBI. He's on MSNBC, and he's no nonsense, very serious. He's always stated the truth and his mind without fear of repercussions. Very no nonsense dude. And he's always impressed me. When I saw this, in the past, he'd written a book about, politics and government and all that stuff, which we all know how screwed up that is. And I didn't want to read a book about that after it's on TV 24/7 pretty much. But this was interesting because it it implied that you're going to find out a lot of statistics about people that are killing people in the highways. And something that just happened in my town, a couple blocks from my place, was a body turned up, and they didn't list the name or anything about this person. I thought, well, who was this person? So I went to my local online news agency and put in body found. And in my area, the Inland Empire, Southern California, for the past several years, it just showed a flood of bodies that just showed up. And I'm thinking, that looks like a serial killer is involved because there were too many. At least you'd think it's too many. So then, right about that same time, I saw the ad for this book on MSNBC. And I thought, well, it must be truckers dropping people off, because I think one of the bodies that was in that list was found up in Devore, which is where the 215 comes through the Cajon Pass. And it seems like it'd be real easy for a trucker to drop somebody off right there and keep on rolling. And so this book, I was hoping, would go into a lot of detail on that, but it didn't. So I'm not going to pan the book because it's 246 pages, and the epilogue at the very end has a lot of good information that kind of buttons it all down. But I will tell you, the book primarily is a couple of threads. So he took a long haul trip with the trucker and kind of experienced trucking life. And about half of this book is just what being a trucker is like. And it made you really feel sorry for them in general, and realize how hard and crappy their job is. The other thread in this was um, human trafficking and the women that are trafficked. There was an previously tracked woman that's now a doctor that was a subject matter expert, and they go into what causes their lifestyle and how they can get out of it if they find the right people that help. And you really get the sense that Frank is trying to help people, um, perhaps more than make an interesting read. Because when you look at this and you think serial killers at the beginning, when I started reading this, it had the setup like a Stephen King book. And you're thinking, okay, when is the real juicy catching of the bad guys going to come in? And you're thinking it's going to be an exciting thrill ride. And it really wasn't. It was kind of a dark, depressing, dualistic journey, one in the lens of a truck driver and then one in the lens of a trafficked person. And then the third thread, that's a lot less extensive, is how law enforcement responds to human trafficked people, how they oversee databases for finding people that are missing, how they monitor crimes at rest stops and things of this sort. But that's only maybe 10 to 15% of the book. So probably 80% is equally divided between human trafficking story and the trucker story. So it is dark and can be monotonous. I got through it pretty fast, but I've been reading an hour a day since I got it, and I think I got through it in I think I was averaging like 50, 60 pages a day. So, like 4 days, maybe 5, I got done with this. And it's a good book. Don't get me wrong. It's a good book. It's really informative, and it's it's good for a male or a female in regards to a man would be more interested in the life of the trucker, and a woman would be more interested in the life of the trafficked person. And then I got a lot of empathy from Frank, which is weird because when you see him on MSNBC, he's got those dark eyes and just dead serious look on his face all the time. And you think, man, what has this guy had to see over his career? It's probably been terrible. But you can really feel the heart that the guy has and that he's trying to be helpful. And at the end, there's in the epilogue, like the best part, honestly, is the epilogue where he suggests things, how you can make differences in people's lives, that finding the trafficked people and getting them help. And there's actually some training on, if you look on Google, you can find some free training on how to recognize trafficked victims. And some agencies in my state, and I think they're in the educational sector, are now requiring people to take this kind of training. And he suggests that truckers should have to take it as well, that males should take a commitment not to be part of the problem. And a lot of good suggestions, whether they get, you know, implemented or not is up to a lot of people on the individual level. But I will tell you this is the morning I went to my corner. It's got a gas station and some truck stops not far from there. And there's a woman walking across the parking lot that looked like probably on drugs and perhaps a trafficked person. And I didn't approach her or anything, but I did think about that person and thought, man, somebody should help her. And I thought, what can I do to help her? And the epilogue had some suggestions in there that I wish maybe I'd known before I went down there. Again, it's kind of sketchy because what do? You can't walk up to a person and say, hey, what's your, do you need help or whatever? Maybe you can, I don't know. It's thought provoking at minimum. But I would not look at this as a book that you're reading for entertainment. You're reading it for knowledge, and you're going to get a lot of heartfelt empathy from Frank. And I think in general, women would probably enjoy it more than men. And I think one thing that he's done that's pretty smart, the FBI knows how to market to the bad guys sometimes. And I think what they may be trying to do is get some truckers to read this and gain some sense of empathy for the women that are out there at the truck stops, so that maybe they, I don't know what, have some revelation to stop being part of that problem. As far as the actual serial killers, it doesn't seem like you could do anything about them because the one guy that was captured, he made the statement in here, something about, I'm not direct quoting, obviously, that people think that when you murder somebody, that if you look in their eyes, that it's going to be like bad for you or something. And he said, I could tell you that it's not, that I looked right at him when I did what I did, and he didn't even care. So that's troubling that there's those people out there. But I'm hopefully that they get a little better at finding some of these people. And I was going to read you one little section here that kind of confirms what I'm telling you in essence about the book. It's the second page of the epilogue. And it says something akin to, maybe it's the first page. This book started, it's the first page of the epilogue. This book started as an interest in the FBI's highway serial killings initiative, but quickly became a quest to understand the cultures beneath the killings, the truckers and the trafficked, the professors and the pimps, the cops and the crime analysts. Took me on a journey to places I hadn't anticipated, populated by people I never knew. They allowed me into their worlds, their realities, and their stories. I learned much from each of them. And that's basically what this is. So when you see this cover, don't think it's like a mystery novel or a crime drama, because it is not. But it's still a good book and worth reading, especially if you are, let's see, who would really want to read it? I would say parents, if you have kids that are struggling in their late teens, and you see them hanging around with the wrong people, especially if you have a daughter, you can get a lot of information about what could happen to them if you don't kind of nip that in the bud. It'd be good for parents to read this. And the other would be the parents that have sons, perhaps that are looking at long haul trucking as a living. You don't want them doing that. You want them to get their education and have an actual life, because they're on the road like all the time. And the very last piece of this book basically said that they're looking at autonomous vehicles without drivers, and that they're already doing it in some company, and that's going to become a thing of the future eventually, at least they think. But if it does, that career path's going to dry up anyway. So I would say parents of teens, and even maybe younger than teens, so that you can help get an idea of how to keep your girls out of trouble, how to keep your sons from making a mistake in the career paths. Because that trucking's just, I mean, they're honorable people, they do great work, but their lifestyle is awful. Um, and I learned a ton about how hard their job is. And this guy that was Mike, which I don't think that's his real name, I believe it was Mike, the anonymous guy he rode with. Man, you work hard, dude. Massive respect for what you do. But I feel sorry for them, and I feel sorry for the trafficked people. And if anything, have some empathy for those people that are on drugs, hanging around at the truck stops that look not, you know, I don't know what the word is, not presentable. Feel sorry for them, because they are in a very bad situation. And perhaps you can get your local agencies that help to um, just help these women get out of that lifestyle, and carry them around with you and hand them to them or something. I don't know. Just a suggestion, but really a thought-provoking book, a book that really gives the feeling that he has a lot of empathy for people, wants to solve a problem, wants to recruit others in solving his problem, or the problem. And yeah, just a good book, great book. Not what I expected, but great.